Recently, the White House announced to demolish the current east wing of the White House and build a big ballroom instead. So I made a video about that, commenting on that, because as you know, I'm an architect, but I'm specialized on classical architecture. And then there were quite many comments under this video saying, asking what I would have done instead, because I criticized the ballroom to be correctly done in terms of classical architecture, so there's no main errors in it, although there are some minor flaws that could be corrected. But then B, the most important thing, it's too opulent and too baroque in the appearance. Although the way it's worked out, it's classicistic, yet the overall appearance is very baroque, and the symmetry with the stairs. And I think it dominates the ensemble of the White House too much. That's the main criticism of it. Because if I find one word for the White House, it's humble. And also the current East and the West Wing had the problem already that they want to be more humble than the already humble White House. So that's why they come extremely reduced with Tuscan columns and entablatures. So very reduced and pure. And now the new ballroom, as you see on this image, before the ensemble was very balanced, and now the volume of the new ballroom is even bigger than the White House. And in addition, you could say, okay, the ballroom needs this volume because you need so many people in it. But then on the other hand, also the architecture with the big stairs and the emphasized symmetry and the Corinthian columns is more baroque and really shadows out the very humble, reduced White House and the classicism from around 1800. So then many of you asked me what I would have done instead. So I basically sketch something and make a suggestion, something like that. So it's not completed at all, but it's just the idea to make something light and elegant and still self-confident. So it should be something that leaves the White House in its elegance as it is and does not try to outshadow the White House. And that at the same time we need still something with a strong character, because a ballroom is still an important element. So what I do, I keep the arc windows from the current design, right? Because I think it fits the ballroom. And then add this very light and slim columns around it. So as we remember, a Corinthian column has a height of 1 to 10. And these are more slim than even 1 to 12. So this gives it this light and elegant appearance. And by that we can make the columns more dense and also add an entablature which is more thin, because it fits the thin columns. So by that it gives even a slightly modern appearance. Also it's a classical building. And I think it's something that still has its own character and yet does not try to outshadow the White House and leave the White House in its elegance as it is. And I think an important element is to place it directly onto the ground, because the current ballroom design is elevated by one floor, which makes it more difficult to escape and to go to the garden. So if we place it directly onto the ground, maybe just a terrace like 60 centimeters or a meter, then it's easier to go to the garden and better in escape situations. And more importantly, we can make the whole building lower, obviously. Probably we can even make it a bit lower than on my rendering. So the whole thing is just like a sketch, right? It's not completely worked out. It's just an idea what we could do. And then instead of this basement floor, I would add an attic floor and put the rooms from the basement floor in the attic floor. Because as you remember, the current White House and also the West Wing also have an attic floor, right? So here in the elevation, these white rectangles should be windows for the attic floor. By that we can keep the whole height of the building lower, especially the height of the entablature, which defines the appearing height of the building, right? We can reduce the size and make it look more reduced than the current opulent ballroom version. And by that, we can create something that still has its own character, but does not try to outshadow the White House and leaves the White House in its elegance as it is. So let me know in the comments what you think. And I also want to point out again how simple that is. So regarding the concept that I advocate for here on my YouTube channel, it's called modern classical architecture, or it would be correctly contemporary classical architecture. So that means it's so simple, right? It's just a cube, basically a box, but adding these very slim and elegant columns gives it really a strong character. And this entablature is also basically freely designed. So the columns and also the entablature is basically freely designed, but it both bases on classical architecture. So I just want to emphasize again how capable this concept of modern classical architecture is. So if you want to see more designs like that, you can visit my website, s-architecture.com. That's s-architecture.com. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think.